Please welcome Jason from Datadog.
Hey everyone, so I'm Jason. I'm an evangelist at Datadog. Datadog's thrilled to sponsor Monotrauma for yet another year. And personally, I was actually super thrilled because I didn't have to race like many of you to get a ticket before they sold out, because they did again this year. But as popular as this conference is, we all know that it's exactly the opposite when it comes to finding people to fill roles on our teams. Datadog's hiring. I know that almost every other sponsor is hiring. Quick show of hands if your company is hiring for engineers. Yeah, just like I thought. That's pretty much everybody here. So we have to talk about the whys of this, right? Why are we having this problem finding junior engineers, new grads to fill our recruiting pipelines? And when you look at job posts, they generally have three main parts: knowledge, tools, and experience. So on the first issue of knowledge, if we're trying to build the next generation of engineers, we have to think about how to provide them with the information that we think they ought to have. If you've ever sat in on an interview, it's pretty obvious that a lot of people don't have this basic knowledge. So we have to think about that. The second issue is the tools. When we think about traditional CS programs, or even those motivated self-starters who are out there teaching themselves, we have to ask ourselves, do they have access to the tools that we're using? And traditionally, those programs that are running CS programs, they don't have access to modern tools just because our tools that we're building are evolving so quickly that they can't keep pace. And the third issue is experience. I like to think of experience as the application of knowledge and tools and putting it all into practice. And if the lack of information and the lack of access to tools aren't big enough hurdles, getting experience of building systems that scale certainly is. But the great thing is that I think it's our responsibility to fix this, and I think that we can do it. So let's talk about some quick ways that we can actually do that. Now, as mentioned, I'm an evangelist, so my main two job responsibilities are docs and talks. And I think they should be part of everybody's job. Documentation doesn't have to be super formal. So first off, I'd like to encourage you all to just blog. Blog about the issues that you face, blog about how you came up with solutions. It really is that simple. There's plenty of platforms that you can do it on, for example, like Medium. Talks don't have to be super formal either. You don't have to give a talk here at Monotrauma. You don't have to give a talk at conferences. But every single meetup organizer out there is struggling to find people to speak. So go there. Go to your local meetup. Offer to talk. Talk about something that you solved, some issue that you faced. Just share that information. And it doesn't really matter your presentation skills. They're perfectly happy to have you just come and talk, whether you have crappy slides or not. When it comes to access to tools, I think there's a ton of great open source tools out there, but there's also a lot of stuff that you're building or that you've built that could be open source. So consider the tools that you have and consider open sourcing them. And if you can't share the code, then go back to blogging. Share that information about how you built a solution. At Datadog, we've open sourced a bunch of our tools. We've also open sourced our agent. That doesn't really help students a whole lot because our agent's designed to work with our service. So one of my first tasks after joining Datadog was actually to put our product into GitHub's student pack to provide access to students. So simple way, start making your tools freely available. Consider joining the GitHub student program or consider starting your own student program. And then it comes to experience. So a lot of companies have internship programs. Most of them have problems. The good ones are super challenging because they're actually harder to land than actually getting a real job because there's just so many, there are many fewer spots to get in there. The bad ones are obvious when you have a bad internship program. They're just more interested in the free labor than they are in actually building experience or giving away education. But whether those internship programs are good or bad, they all face the problem of scaling. Companies that value interns are great, but there's always that tension between getting your own job done and helping an intern. And so we've really got to start considering as a community of engineers how we can step outside of that and stepping outside of our own work lives and starting to volunteer as mentors. There's a fantastic tech mentorship meetup here in Portland that happens on Saturdays. check in your local area if there are mentorship opportunities or consider starting one. Because really when it comes down to fixing our shortage with engineers, it's up to us. So share your knowledge, share your tools, share your experience. That's really all I've got. Speaking of sharing, we do have socks up at the Datadog table, so drop by and grab some socks. Thanks.